Broads Media.
No way. No way. There's no way. I don't know. And it's a bad thing that my job is to talk about what happened, but I don't know. They had no business of winning that game. Now, part of me loves that. The fact that they went on the road to beat Andy Reid after he had a bye. You play sloppy as hell. Your offensive coordinator sucked. A.J. Brown was non-existent. You don't have Dallas Goedert. Your offensive line was getting beat up early. Spags had you on ice skates. Okay, you had poor tackling, dumb penalties. Fletcher Cox, that was stupid. Brandon Graham should have been called. Instead, it was a false start on the Chiefs. The list goes on and on. Darius Slay gets danced out of his shoes, pantsed by a rookie in the first half. There was so much stuff that was a disaster for the Eagles, but they win this game. The Chiefs had a double-digit lead at half. Wow, how ironic is that? DeAndre Swift was a dog. Jalen Hurts, after missing Devontae Smith and instead throwing it in the feet of your backup tight end, missing Devontae Smith and then responding by hitting him over the middle and then getting him to the 1-yard line before a tush push. Wow. You had play calls where it's 3rd and 1, you're in shotgun, and DeAndre Swift loses yards. That's dumb, stupid, embarrassing play calling when you have a play that's basically unstoppable. How can you be that tragic? I've been defending Brian Johnson all bye week long, saying I love the strides that he took since the early stages and the failures that he was doing when he was very raw. He was learning on the job, and he was doing much, much more. He took a big step back for me even through this win, but Sean Desai, the complete opposite. The second half comes around, and yeah, they got lucky because Valdez-Scantling probably should have caught that football, and instead of shutting out the Chiefs in the second half, they put up 7 and then potentially a loss on the scoreboard. But that didn't happen. And Kelsey drops passes. Hassan Reddick was in his face all night, chirping away. Maybe there's something to that. And every time I see someone get in the face of a great player, I wonder, in what world? You better answer the bell. Now, it's not Garrett Stubbs, your backup catcher, running his mouth. It's a superstar who started the game off letting them know we'll be here all night. Now, unfortunately, they didn't really have that same level of impact throughout the first half. Josh Sweat is jumping off sides. Fletcher Cox can't bring down Pat Mahomes along the sideline. And then Josh Sweat, if you go see the replay, he's giving you zero sense of urgency just in case Mahomes did squeak by Fletch. He half-assed it until he realized I got to turn on the Jets and try my best, but it was already too late. Bad, 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 bad. Until it was good. Oh, man. Roby comes back from injury. Pops Travis Kelce. Here's a big turnover. The damaging part was after that, wide receiver screens. Here's what I won't allow to happen here, because I know that there are some people in the media and some fans out there that say this is why you're not allowed to react in the moment. They won the football game, didn't they? No. You can be angry at Brian Johnson. You could be mad at a lot of things that happened in this game. And I'm the first one that even during their 8-1, I'd say, look, stop nitpicking so much. This is fine. They're 8-1. And I think all of that stands true with every other game but this one. And this is a 1,000-foot view. So I'm looking down, and it's sort of the overhead view of it all. If you were to lose to Kansas City on the road after Andy Reid has a bye, when you're 8-1 in your first 9 games, in a competitive matchup where you did great things and you just happened to lose to a great team, there's nothing to hold your head down about. That stuff happens. There's reasons why teams don't go 16-0, 17-0 every single season. There's no shame. There is a lot of shame when you get embarrassed, though, and you're supposed to put up a fight against this opponent, because even though Dallas Goedert's not there, you had 2 weeks to basically set something up. It's inexcusable to look that pathetic offensively. That was a joke. So you're allowed, in my eyes, to lose against the Chiefs on the road, where they are basically dominant at Arrowhead. There's nothing wrong with that. The way it was progressing, though, where you looked like the New York Jets, and that's what they looked like. They looked like the Jets. I'm not sugarcoating anything. Zach Wilson-led Jets. That's what the Eagles were basically providing for us. 3 and out, trash, 3 and out. And I'll give credit to Spags and that defense and what they were doing up front to cause all sorts of issues. Lane Johnson and Jalen Hurts, they didn't know if it was a screenplay or not. I don't know what happened there. Plays were getting blown up. It looked like Jalen Hurts was indecisive if he wanted to hand the football off or keep it himself. There was a lot in everyone's position group. There was something that was probably tragic for a majority of this football game. But they found the way, and I can't run away from the fact that in their DNA, when you count them out, when you think it's over, when you think that they are definitely dead, here's the Undertaker gif. So you are allowed in this game, I think, to analyze more than the first 9 games on how it looked against a really good opponent. And the outcome was magnificent. You won that football game down 10 when you had no business doing it. That's a common trend. That's a theme. And now throughout this gauntlet, you beat Miami, you beat Dallas in South Philly, and you beat the Kansas City Chiefs on the road. Keep bringing me these gauntlets, baby. And I didn't love it. I didn't love it. I was aggravated. I did not love it. And I expressed that pretty vocally on social media along with everybody else. But this gauntlet, though, how are they going to win? Well, the Lions had an epic win against the Bears, and I had Lions fans talking their smack when the Eagles looked like they were completely going to roll over, and I made sure I had the last laugh. Massive for the NFC, where the standings are type of conversation. Just beautiful. Just like HelloFresh is beautiful. Now, what is HelloFresh, you ask? It is farm-fresh, pre-portioned ingredients and seasonal recipes delivered right to your doorstep. Skip trips to the grocery store and count on HelloFresh to make home cooking easy, fun, and affordable. That's why it's America's #1 meal kit. There's over 40 recipes to choose from every single week. So with HelloFresh, they send pictured step-by-step recipe cards right to your doorstep. How easy is that? It's pre-portioned as well. So we all know it sucks to be spending a lot of money on food. Well, how about this? HelloFresh is 25% less expensive than takeout. So that means you get easy home-cooked meals on the table and even more money back in your pocket. Go to HelloFresh.com/50broads and use code 50broads for 50% off plus free shipping. That's code 50broads for 50% off plus free shipping. HelloFresh is America's #1 meal kit. Okay. This list of things I hated down 10 at half, 17-7, is hysterical. Byard looks clueless. There's a wide open touchdown to give Kansas City the early lead. Miscommunication, blown coverage, first touchdown of the year for the kid. What are we doing? What are we doing? Slay gets undressed. Hurts in the interception, and it's a shame because the smarts and the IQ of A.J. Brown did not touch him. Now, unfortunately, I guess their shins touched in super slow-mo, but he waits for him to get up, and then he punches the football out. I thought, hey, that's Bird's ball, man. That is legitimately Bird's ball if their shins did not scrape one another as he was going to the ground or coming back up from already touching the ground. What a crazy, absurd play. They did get the right call done by the end of it. It just sucks. It sucks, but that's a bad, bad play by Jalen Hurts. I think Spags confused him, and they looked outclassed. The coaching staff looked so unprepared, looked like they had zero answers, specifically on offense. Sean Desai continues to amaze me basically every single week. The guy's a machine. The guy's a magician, and part of it was poor tackling, and, you know, it's like, oh, why is Desai doing this and that and the other? Sometimes I just look at the roster and say, they're not performing. They're not playing well. When Darius Slay has a one one-on-one, we need to make a tackle against a rookie in this league, and he gets destroyed and annihilated. Yo, Slay, are you not prepared? Are you not ready? Are you not bringing it? That can't happen. That's unacceptable. Part of it was what you had, and at the end of it, you completely shut them down in the second half. You shut down that offense. Not the same offense we've seen in years past, and I made that very clear in the preview show. They averaged 23 points per game. If you hold them to or below what they average, no matter how they get it, if it's all offense, if their defense has a pick six, if there's a fumble recovery, it's irrelevant. Just about points. Because the Eagles were having difficulties getting off on third down, which was prolonging some of the Kansas City drives, and it looked like the defense was running out of gas, and they were huffing and puffing, hands over their head, looking for some air. At the same time, they were what was keeping you in the game. I thought Andy Reid elected to punt it once when I was a little surprised. It ended up bouncing into the end zone, so it was like a net difference of 19, 20 yards or something ruthless like that. But going back to some of the things that pissed me off, Tony looked like the best punt returner to ever live. Of course he was making plays out there again. Guy does nothing until he sees midnight green, and then he becomes a superstar, right? They had good field position nonstop. I got to be honest with you, it might take 48 hours for me to truly digest how this was done, if not even longer than that. Maybe next week, Sunday, we're watching the game, and I'm like, oh, yeah, you know what? It did set in that they won that game. They had no business. They did not play well at all. But for them to play so awful and so bad, and Jalen Hurts, for out of touch and out of sync as he was, for him to be calm and collected with the game on the line, some of those draws made me sick. You come out of half, it's 3rd and 7, here's a draw that gets destroyed, but then he scores a touchdown on a 3rd and 5 where he keeps the football and runs up the middle and scores and punches it in. So it makes no sense. The passes to DeAndre Swift worked out nicely with some screens. It could have been even sweeter if Kansas City didn't make a tackle on 3rd and long. There was so much green grass. I think he probably could have had a first down on that play. It was really the Devontae Smith and DeAndre Swift show. I guess you can make the argument before half the Kenneth Gainwell thing bit you in the ass again because he runs out of bounds on 2nd and 15, stops the clock, give Kansas City an opportunity to get the football back. You got to realize, even though I'm sure you're thinking in your mind, I want to score. Well, 3rd and 15, if you do run out of bounds here and it's the next play, what are the percentages you actually get a first down there? You got to play the percentages. It's most likely going back to Kansas City. And if so, look at their timeouts, look at where they're at. Bad situational football. It results in 3, and it was well managed by Kansas City at that time. I'm stunned. I'm in disbelief, but what are you going to do? I thought Fletcher Cox, that penalty at the end, was stupid. I thought he knew exactly what he was doing. He can make any face that he wants, and we could all scream, what are you supposed to do if the quarterback... It's 2023. It's been this way for 6 years now, 7 years, 8 years, if not longer. You knew what the intention was. You got to be smarter than that. You're a pro. You've been around the league for a long-ass time. That is totally unacceptable. That's a Derek Barnett play. That's what Derek Barnett would do. Same with Josh Sweat's offsides calls. That's bad, not smart football. And I expect more out of someone like Fletcher Cox in the 4th quarter when they're on their last drive, keeping their hopes alive. And the 4th and 25 was even way closer than I thought. Do people have flashbacks of Donovan McNabb on 4th and super long? Because there were some massive drops by your wide receivers. Here's a take that I didn't really love, and I heard it throughout the week, that, well, now that you don't have Dallas Goedert, in years past they would have Zach Ertz, or when Selleck was here, there was just always someone that you would look at and say, hey, if something was to happen to your tight end, there's a reasonable backup. Well, who's that for the Kansas City Chiefs? That's not really the norm. And what they elected to do, instead of tight end and bolster up there, they did it with paying A.J. Brown. They did it with Devontae Smith. So in years past, it was Zach Ertz and Dallas Goedert, heavy 12 personnel. Well, they still have very similar playmakers. It's just different. Instead of it being at the tight end position and with heavier personnel, it's more with A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, and Dallas Goedert as your 1-2-3 punch. Instead of Dallas Goedert, Zach Ertz, 2 tight end personnel with another wide receiver. And in those years, Greg Ward was still being utilized with Carson Wentz and Doug Peterson and J.J. Arcega-Whiteside and Jalen Reagor. So if you have Goddard and Ertz, but those are your other wide receiver, it doesn't really matter. Just get me skill position players, whether it's tight end or not. But they were forcing crap everywhere, and they had too much time with the bye week to come up with some of that slop. Trying to give Zacchaeus the ball, it gets swatted. That could have been a pick six. After the fumble, forcing it to Devontae, that could have been a pick six. They tried the other way to Julio Jones. Garbage. Garbage, 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 garbage. There was a lot of garbage. Bad punt before half. The bad punt return. Oh, man. Oh, man. I don't really have words for you. I truly don't. This one stuns me more than most. Ballsy. The Stones, I guess. The Stones on this team to pull this one out. It's stunning to me. Okay. Let's rip through a couple calls. I also want to see what Sirianni and what Jalen Hurts were saying post-game because nutty. Jalen Hurts, I guess, now is the favorite to win NFL MVP at plus 250. No surprise. I guess there's one thing you got to recognize with this kid. No matter time, no matter where the game is, no matter if you're down, no matter if they were struggling, no matter what, no matter the situation, if you need a play, he's going to help make that play. If you need to get down to the one, you could think they suck all you want. But with the game on the line, the kid delivers. And I think it says a lot due to his personality. All right, we say about how the kid's wired, the mental makeup, and all that. He can get yelled at by A.J. Brown on the sidelines after that interception happened, and he just takes it, he accepts it, he says his words, he embraces what A.J. Brown's saying, they're best friends, they move on, and then they go win a damn football game. He could put it right behind him. You know, he just has a personality that's unique, it's different, and with the game on the line, he settles in and does what's needed to get a win. It's rare. Come on. You don't win that game. You don't deserve to win that game. You sucked in that game. You sucked. That was terrible. But Jalen Hurts, you have the quarterback. You have the difference maker. In the end, winning is the only thing that matters. That's the most Jalen Hurts quote of all time. He gives some major love to the defense. Nick Sirianni said that he knew that this was going to be a gritty and very ugly game, but he gives a lot of credit to the defense as well. And also giving a lot of love to Jalen Hurts, who made a check into a big play to Devontae Smith. Gives him a lot of credit for what he does with his mind in game. Wow, how crazy is that? I talked to you about what Jalen Hurts is and what he does, and here's the head coach admitting, bro, you're right. Thanks, Nick. I really appreciate it, and I'm glad you see what I see. You know, I'm glad that you see football similar to me, Nick. I appreciate it. Jalen Hurts changes the game. Remarkable. All right, let's rip through some calls, shall we?
Just saw the incomplete pass. Unbelievable defensive performance from Desai. I mean, the D-line, Reddick was unbelievable. The defense played great. Brian Johnson still has to go. I mean, he was still terrible, I feel like, in this matchup. Hurts and Devontae Smith saved them big time. But, like, in my opinion, after that Kelsey fumble, when they call those screens, it's like, why are we putting ourselves in that position? Still, we come away with the win this week. And I'm super happy about it.
I'm super happy, too. I'm not calling for anybody's job when you are 9-1 in 10 games. I'm not. I don't think Brian Johnson did good. He took step backs in my Brian Johnson meter. I think the fan base is going from Shane Steichen, who everyone loved, had a good feel on the play calling, to Brian Johnson, and then the complete opposite is happening on the other side, where we're going from Jonathan Gannon, who everybody despised, to Sean Desai. It's easier to be liked when you're going from ugly, and it's harder to be liked when you're going from super great in that role. And it takes some time to figure it out, and I thought he was doing well and progressing and wasn't getting the support that he deserved, but he didn't do himself any favors this week for that, especially with more time because of the bye week. It doesn't mean I call for firings, though. It just shows you that I'm disappointed in his game. That's all. There's a big difference. Now, Jeff Kerr of CBS has this. Jalen Hurts has won 7 straight games when trailing by 10 points. That's the most by any quarterback in the NFL since the stat was first tracked in 1991. No other quarterback has more than 4 straight. So, once again, it goes back to the way the kid is wired, his mental makeup, and I'm so thankful for him being in an Eagles uniform, and I'm so thankful that I took Eagles plus 2.5, and they win outright, and you could join me on MyBookie to cash out all the time. Skip the arguments with Uncle Dave on Thanksgiving and focus on what really matters. Good food, boosted odds, and hitting the Turkey Day parlays. Picture this, not just watching games, but turning every second into a potential win. With MyBookie, you can stream the games and live bet them and turn any game day into a payday. Ready to up your game? Sign up today and make your first deposit with promo code BRODES for a sweet deposit bonus up to $1,000. That's promo code BRODES to claim your bonus. This isn't just a promo code, it's your secret weapon to get the extra edge on the house. The best part is you don't need to even be a sports whiz to win at MyBookie. You can cash in on everything from politics to your favorite TV shows and then some. So bet anything, anytime, anywhere, only with MyBookie. The link is down below in the description. Okay, let's take our next call.
I don't know how they did it, man, but the Eagles went into Arrowhead, and they just beat Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs. What an effort by our defense. Like, they were all so clutch, I felt. They made big plays. They shut Patrick Mahomes out in the second half. Oh, my gosh, I'm so hyped. 9-1, baby. 9-1. Let's go, Birds.
I just had a buddy of mine hit me up, right? And he always talks smack to me whenever the Eagles are doing bad, whenever the Phillies are doing bad, whatever. He only peeks his head when he has time to take shots at me. And he goes, wow, you're so lucky to be 9-2. I said, 9-2? Go look again, bud. 9-2, excuse me. You can't just throw losses around like we're the New York Giants with Danny DeVito. You can't just start throwing losses around like we're some bum-ass team, even though they played like it for way too long tonight. On Monday Night Football, with all the eyes on you, I think Jalen Hurts just showed the world. You can keep counting me out. You can keep thinking that this isn't going to work. You can keep telling me that my knee is banged up. You could say this. You could say that. You could say that this offense struggles. You could say whatever the hell you want. But I'm going to find Devontae Smith or A.J. Brown or any of my playmakers with the game on the line. And Devontae comes down with that special pass. I'm sure Pat Mahomes is biting his fist thinking, why can't I have that? All right, Andy Reid and Donovan McNabb and all that in years past, go look through the list of wide receivers he had to deal with once Tyreek Hill left. And granted, they did win a Super Bowl last season and all, but I'm just saying they make it harder than it needs to be sometimes by not putting a lot of stock into that position. That's the difference right there. That's the difference in this game right there, is who can step up and actually catch the football compared to who can. And Devontae Smith was magic. He was magic, but 9-2. Take that 9-2 and shove it where the sun doesn't shine, dude. You cannot be any more embarrassing. If you're going to do it, right, at least get it right. If you're going to do it and try and get into my face and talk that talk, one, you can't do it when we become 9-1 and beat the Chiefs in their own barn, where people don't go into Arrowhead. All right, not only do people not go into Arrowhead, but doing this off of a bye is extremely impressive. It just is. It just is. It's easy to fall apart, especially when your team is so good, right? The Eagles, if they were to lose this game, even if it was as ugly as it was, you're in a great position. You're 8-2. And you're in a good spot still. You are. They're optimistic about a Dallas Goedert return. You got Cam Jurgens back. You figure Roby back in the slot is tremendous. Guys are returning. You flush it, you move on to the next game. If you beat the Bills and beat the 49ers, you know what I mean? Like, it's solid. It's solid. So when you're in the fourth quarter and you recognize this isn't really our day today, I think it's easy to say, reflect. All right, worst comes to worst, we're 8-2. Sorry, that 9-2 text threw me in for a loop here. We're 8-2. But they don't think that way. Why? Because of the leadership of the quarterback. Until it's 0-0-0 on the clock. Remarkable, man. Just remarkable. Bring on more calls.
Hey, bro. It's great win tonight by the Eagles. Haven't checked in with you since that Phillies loss. Very painful. But I'm very excited about the Eagles this year. The team looks awesome. Payback win for last year's debacle in the Super Bowl. They almost stole it with that fraudulent penalty on Cox, but we pulled it out, sent a message to the Cowboys or any other imposters, even the Niners. The Eagles are awesome. Excellent win on prime time.
They are awesome. I can't wait to hear what some of the national pundits are going to say about this one. I'm sure that they'll be all Dallas Cowboyed up still, and they'll be all Kyle Shanahan, Brock Purdy'd up, and not give the respect that they deserve at the Eagles. They'll probably talk more about the drops and how pathetic it was from Kansas City sense, more so than what the Eagles did, because they really didn't blossom in this game a lot. But you can't overlook this. You can't overlook how ridiculously good this is. And I disagree on your Fletcher Cox take. I think that was a penalty in today's era of football. You just can't do that. You cannot do it. You can't do it. And I don't like that football is here. I don't like that that's the norm, but there's enough to know that this is the norm, and you have to keep your hands down. That could be the difference in winning or losing a postseason game. These postseason games are going to come down to the wire. It'll be a one-possession game. It'll be a 4-point, 5-point game, and you need a defensive stand. You can't give any opponent an extra 15 yards, let alone the best quarterback to ever live besides Tom Brady, but the most skilled quarterback to ever live. That's totally unacceptable. But it's funny because, as I normally do after these games, I do the Bleacher Report show right after the clock hits 0, and I asked for my poll question, what do you feel right now? Is it wow, what a win, or is it how? Because that's two totally different things, right? Wow, what a win, you found a way, or how? Disbelief. And 84% of the vote was the wow, what a win. I got to be honest, I'm still in the disbelief. I'm sitting in disbelief more so than anything else. Now, it's a combination of both. I'm obviously thrilled and stoked that we're 9-1. You continue to package up these wins when that loss to the Jets happened, right? Like, things happen in this season. When you do accidentally fall on your face, but then you pull out these wins that you shouldn't, it doesn't hurt as bad. But if you lose this game and then, let's say, you're on the other side of this, right? You outplay the opponent, but somehow the Bills win. They don't deserve to win. They sucked all game long, but the Bills win. What? Now, if that happens after a tragic loss like what happened today, if it was to be reversed, it's like, dude, now that's 2 straight losses. You have to stop the bleeding. The conversation changes. But if you win, have a bad loss, win, have a bad loss, win, and then you end up with 14 wins and 3 losses, that's a lot different than being maybe 12-5 with those losses that shouldn't happen like they do to the Jets, or if the Commanders were able to squeeze by, because they always give you a tough fight. They're inevitable. It happens all the time. There's probably a loss left on this schedule that isn't supposed to happen. That happens. When you squeeze these victories out and when you put together so many W's in a row, those hiccups don't have the same level of impact and puts you in a totally different category by the end of the year when you're thinking of a bye week. And, you know, a majority of the time with what we've seen here, really, never mind, because last year it actually came down to that Giants game because they had to play Gardner Minshew and play the backups, and the Giants were not playing starters. And never mind, but Yeah, I was going to say that last game might even be irrelevant, but that's the position you put yourself in when you show your dominant self, man. When you show your dominant self.
Yo, what's up, bros? I just got one thing to say, man. You gotta fight for your right to party. Let's fucking go. Woo!
I love that. I love that. That's a damn good call. That's a damn good call. I like that call. Maybe we'll wrap things up on that. Before I let you go, though, my friends over at TickPick is giving you free money. That's right. Do you want to go to a game to see the Eagles live, to see the Sixers, to see the Flyers? What if I told you if you spend over $99 on tickets, which is easy to do in today's era, just how much tickets are, you get $10 off. And they have the best prices guaranteed. Their ticket prices will beat any of the major competing marketplaces, and we're so confident that they guarantee it. If you found the same seats elsewhere at a better price than TickPick, you get 110% of the price difference in form of TickPick credit. And the upfront pricing, meaning that there's no more doing math in your head to prepare for how much extra you plan on spending on top of the listed price on other sites, because the price you see on TickPick is the price you'll pay at checkout. Period. End of story. So get yourself in a conversation with your loved ones, with your wife, with your husband, with your kids, with a cousin, you name it, with friends. Let's go to a game. Let's go to a game. If you click the link down below with the TickPick link, my code's already activated with it, so you don't have to worry about it. Bada bing, bada boom. You sign out from there, and you get yourself to a game today. Do not be a fool. All right, boys. Wow. 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 That's all I got to say. Wow. Love you guys to death. We'll be talking soon. I guarantee it. Talk to you later.